Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome back to another Helix tips video. Actually, a lot of these tips count for any modeler device or plugin, software plugin. Now, I think that was a nice, organic, warm sounding distortion. Do you agree? A lot of people say these modelers and digital things sound digital. And what does that even mean, digital? I guess they mean it sounds thin and harsh. Well, this is something that I've struggled with. So in the past, I'd make a patch like this. If you check out the screen, what's happening here really is I've got some compression and things, reverbs, but what we're really listening for is this here, this distortion. I've just got a clean amp and the distortion EQ in front of it. Everything else is off. So the clean sound sounds like this. Okay, and that's set the way I want it to be for my clean sound, say on this pickup. Okay, so to get my crunch sound on the bridge pickup, I'd kick in a distortion. And I usually thought, oh, can you hear that? Relatively, for me, compared to what you heard in the beginning of the video, that sounds very bright and thin and digital. I think it may just be that the amp is set quite bright and this pedal's hitting the amp. Now, another way you could do this is to use a completely separate amp, or you could use your snapshots to control that amp. I just like to work how I would in the real, again, funny expression, the real world, right? We're there already. But I like to put a pedal in front of an amp. When I do that, the danger can be, as in the real world, it can sound thin. To me, that's thin and harsh. And that's just through headphones. I usually find once I turn up the PA speaker, it gets even worse. So I never know what to do about that. That was always the downfall for me. I always was quite happy with the clean sound I could get and not that. And like I said, there's other ways of doing this, but this is just the way I like to work. So what I did was I was using another modeler and I thought, oh, they seem to have an EQ block on every amp. So you can actually, for every amp sound you use, you can completely change the EQ like you do on a Mesa, that kind of EQ. I thought, well, why not do that in Helix? Because in Helix, you can have a ton of EQ blocks, as many as you want. You could have an EQ block for every sound you have. And in fact, again, use snapshots if you want. Just have one EQ block and change it. But I digress. I thought what I could do is plug in my real pedal. I've got an MXR Sugar Drive on the floor, and it sounds like this. Of course, I'll bypass the sounds here. Okay. This is a pedal which is tried and tested for me. I love this pedal in my amp, and I just think it sounds great. So that's my benchmark now. Okay, so if we turn that off and go back to the distortion here, same kind of distortion. No. There's a lot of high frequencies, right? And I tried the tone and everything. I couldn't get it how I wanted to. I thought, okay, how about if I kick in an EQ block and then play around with it? This is the Cal EQ graphic. And you could use a parametric if you want to be even more specific, or you could even use 2 EQ blocks. But all I did was boost some bass and low end, cut some of the high end, and try it again. And if we turn it off, so you add some of that low end, cuts a bit of that high. Now, I'm not going to say it sounds exactly the same as the real pedal, but I mean, that'd be very hard to do. I'm sure you could do it if you spent enough time, but just that alone, look, this is the real pedal. You have to agree it's much closer than this. That's thin, right? That's bright. Not thin, that's bright. This brings that down. There you go. So I can save that as my crunch snapshot. If it's still not right, I could add another EQ block. I could have the compressor change just for that sound. I could add another drive pedal. I can stack drives. I can do all these things. I can even use snapshots to change the amp EQ as well. I can do all these things in order to get a sound similar to the pedal. And I think you can do it. It's just a matter of dialing it in. So for me, that's close enough. Now I can turn that pedal off, and for me, that's fine. Here's the original, the actual pedal. It's still slightly warmer sounding. But not by much. And actually, I might prefer this sound anyway. So I'd want to turn this up in a band rehearsal and see, but then come in here and adjust the EQ again just to match it. And of course, then I'll save that as my crunch sound. So there you go. EQ blocks are very powerful tools. You can use them for amps at the end of a signal to shape your overall sound for a room, or you can even use them with individual blocks, like I'm doing here. And when I realized this, it was kind of a game changer to me. Like now I can make very specific sounds. So I encourage you to try that out. If you have any problems with your kind of distortion sounds sounding a bit thin, or any sounds for that matter, even a delay, because one of the legacy delays actually has bass and treble. This one, the digital here, and the legacy has bass and treble. But again, that's a very specific bass and treble frequency. We don't even know what they are. If you load up another delay, or even this one, you can then bring up an EQ block and tailor the EQ of that delay just to your liking. You can be that specific. I mean, the reason that we buy different pedals is because they're voiced differently, right? Well, now we can voice a pedal however we want using a parametric EQ. It's really powerful. It does involve some tweaking, but not that much. And if you trust your ears and just spend a bit of time, you can get some really awesome sounds that do not sound digital. So yeah, give it a try and let me know in the comments what you think, if it works for you. And if you've got any ideas similar, please let me know. I'd love to learn about them. And if you liked the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.